welcome back to another exciting episode of me trying to find the right angle for the camera. Yeah, it's about like that. So, what we're creating here is for all intents and purposes, it's almost always a diorama, but this is a fake book diorama hiding a gnome building. Yeah, say that 5 times fast and so forth. But anyway, to start off with, I just took some old foam pieces I found that from other projects and so forth, and I cut away things that made it look less like a book here. And what I'm doing now here is taking a little bit of it's American product. I basically think you can get it something similar anywhere. It's basically a paper mache mixed with plastic. It's called Sculptamold. And I'm putting this on here for the reason because it kind of gives a more leathery texture and so forth, at least I found. And eventually this whole thing mostly gets covered up there. And it also covers up certain irregularities in the foam and such. Now, I'm not going to talk too much throughout this because, otherwise this is a long, long clip. For me, at least. I usually do these things in 10 minutes and so forth. But what I'll do is I'll let you watch bits in here, and when I think something pertinent comes up, of course, I will pop in. Now, of course, what you see here is we are painting it there. I mixed up a little bit of paint because, the basic colors don't really match a lot of old books and so forth. But yeah, nothing too complicated here. This is, painter's tape and such. And even so, I still screwed it up and had to go paint over again afterwards. Now, what you won't see, unfortunately, because I either forgot to record it or the thing didn't record. That's unfortunately using this on my phone. I got to find a better setup of recording, but is I eventually use stencils and so forth to kind of put wording and so forth, lettering and such to that effect. What you will see is a little bit of touch up here and such, specifically with when I get to the Green Man painting here, and that's what you see me doing. I kind of fuddled, whatever you call it, fuddled this beginning and so forth. So some of this I basically ended up painting over and so forth again, but somehow it turned out nice. It's actually quite good considering I don't really do paint all that well. Well, I mean, I can weather things, I can make things look shitty, but actually doing a painting is a little bit beyond my skill set. As you see, I first tried to draw on a face to kind of give myself a guide. I did not go by this guide in the end. I just kind of, well, I had to paint it over and so forth, and then I ended up just layers and layers of paint getting to kind of where I wanted to go. That's kind of how I do things anyway. I usually do it over and over and over again and cover it up, so thinking that the end result's pretty nice and so forth, but I guess I could have done it in a quicker or more efficient way. That's my MO, I guess. Alright, getting on to the actual inside. Well, this is the remains of a cat box. It's, well, cat food box and such. I just started turning it into basically a door. So, one of the first things I had to do, of course, was just glue everything down. And I tried to put in, like, say, wood inserts and so forth to kind of give it more, I guess you could say more frame, but that didn't really work out. In the end, the wood and so forth was used more for the, I guess you could say, actual, yeah, this decorative and such. Just like this book up here, coming here, is decorative. Though my wife, like I said, she gave me this book, and was not quite happy with the fact that I ended up, although she doesn't care about the book, but I ended up not really showing that much of the book. It was mostly covered by sculptor mode and such. But that was always the idea. It was going to be kind of a broken down, decrepit type of thing and stuff. And so you could see through the sculptor mode bits and pieces where it used to be. I mean, what is underneath the thing and such. Now, you are seeing a bit of. I tried to make two pillars originally, and these look awful. Two pillars of that go in the front because the idea, and nowadays I actually don't like what I did, but the idea was to cover up some of the gaps with these little pillar-like things. But kind of the problem was they kind of make the entrance too small. But here, there was one good thing came out of it: the little clay faces I made and so forth. So I did save those and reuse those. And what I did end up doing regarding, I did create some sort of pillars and so forth. I mean, it wasn't actually all that great of an idea in the end, because again, it still makes the whole thing smaller. But what I did was I took some old, like say, plastic tubing I had for some other project there. In fact, I took some fairy lights, put them inside there, and then I just put this, what you're seeing right now, is air-dried clay, which I've messed up so many times and so forth. And yeah, I just put this over there here, cut little bitty holes so the light could go through. And I also carved, like, say, what you call it? I tried to use a stencil for this. It didn't really work all that great, but I carved basically, Latin letters and such. So it's acta diurna, which is Latin for the news, oddly enough. I don't know how that works with gnomes, but it's whatever. I liked how it looked in the end. I guess I just don't like how it all kind of covers up the entrance too much and so forth. You see the battery pack for the fairy lights. I think it's something my mother-in-law gave us and such for whatever reason there. So I just reuse that. A lot of things I do, I just reuse things I find around the house and such. It's going to be junk in the end. Now, unfortunately, you don't get to see too much of the actual decoration on the side, but you could see that I used, like, say, I took, what you call it, I took fake trees and so forth, and like flocking and stuff to kind of create this little canopy and such between the two pillars. The reason why I did this actually is it wasn't planned. Again, it's my usual thing. When I created the original pillars, they had, like, say, these little tops, like towers on them and stuff. The idea was for them to be scrolls, actually. These were supposed to be scroll cases. But with the opening and the fairy lights coming out of it, honestly, it looked like two dicks. Two dicks doing something. It was hilarious. Once you saw it, you could not unsee it. So I undid them. I put on the canopy, and I put on little clay face. This is where I reused the clay face. What I also ended up doing was, like, say, creating some, using hot glue and so forth to kind of create these little mushroom caps for, like, say, a lot of the fairy lights, so that would kind of mix in with the, what you call it, the decoration and the plant life and all that fun stuff. And it seems to work pretty fine, though it, annoyed the hell out of me the first time I was trying to do it, and I think I ruined some plastic things I put them on, but you live and you learn. And see parts of something else I was creating, which was a lamp that didn't actually go into this whole thing. I took it apart and used it for something else. But all in all, as I said, came out pretty nice. Mostly proud of the way the Green Man, the books look there in effect, and the architecture on the inside. I don't really, like I said, don't really like the two pillars as much, but can't always do everything perfect. You live and learn. Alright. Well, thanks for showing in, and until next time, some more nonsense coming along the way as usual.